Hello everybody, it's Tam and I'm back for floss tube number 3. Hello all fellow floss tubers and cross stitchers. If you're joining me on this particular floss tube, then you're probably interested in cross stitch, which is why we're all here. Firstly, it's been a little bit longer than I anticipated. Apologies about that. It takes a lot of time and planning to get ready for this, and life just is life sometimes. So I'm here. It's just the start of February. I really wanted to get my third one in before the end of Jan. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. But here I am, so that's a good thing. And I have some finishes, which is awesome to share with you. I also have a massive pile of stuff around me here. So this one could be a bit longer. You might want to get a cup of coffee. I've certainly got mine, even though it's about 30 degrees outside. So for all my fellow friends and cross stitchers in the Northern Hemisphere who are experiencing quite a cold snap at the moment, we are having the opposite. We are fairly warm. It's not too bad here. Typically, I don't really run the air that often, maybe a couple of times a year, but the further north you go, the hotter it obviously gets. Speaking of that, I was with family in Brisbane for Christmas. So that was the last time. I think I had my last one just before Christmas. So I hope everybody had a great Christmas and New Year, and we're already well into 2023. Christmas was great, spent it with my family and extended family. In Australia, we don't always have a hot lunch because of the climate that we have, and we're in our linen or togs, or that's swimmers, and enjoying the water as well. So for us, it's about a glazed ham, lots of salads and fresh seafood, which Dad was responsible for and had a little bit of a fail. He bought us what he thought were cooked Moreton Bay bugs, but when we unpacked them, we actually had to cook them. No big deal. Luckily we had, my partner has worked on trawlers, so had a lot of experience. So we had beautiful bugs, as fresh as could be, nothing to complain about. So a lovely Christmas spent with family, and then back to home. And I actually have now caught COVID for the first time. I'd missed it. I had been sick, so who knows, I may have had it, but officially caught COVID. Wasn't particularly sick, thank goodness, and was over that well and truly before I started in my new job, which, if you watch my last floss tube, I was starting a new role, which I'm now 4 weeks into, and really enjoying it. Great team, learning lots more to learn. But yeah, that's the work front at the moment. Really pleased that I've made the move and started in this new position. And also on the other work front, the side hustle work front, of course, I have the shop, the Stitches Merchant. So thank you to all the people, big thank yous actually needed to shout out to all my subscribers. So hundreds of you, thank you so much. Can't believe it's hundreds, probably soon to be in the thousands. So so overwhelmed and absolutely wow, that's just wow. And the same goes for my customers who are supporting me in my very small business. And yeah, there's repeat business. There's lots of support for the retreat that I'm hosting with so it's an inaugural retreat for me as a business owner with Fox and Rabbit Designs. So Karen and Bren are releasing an exclusive sampler for us, which is amazing, with a kit and an exclusive linen. Couldn't have asked for more, and they've just absolutely smashed it out of the park as far as I'm concerned, because in our recent catch up, I was very lucky to be in their studio last year, and Karen and Brendan were sharing all the antiques that they had plans on, obviously, to design for us, and reproductions that they'll be releasing to us, of which there were so many beautiful samplers. And to just see them, that's amazing. But one in particular stood out, and Karen and Brendan have decided to actually make that the exclusive. So thank you so much, Karen and Bren. I was overwhelmed by that, and it's absolutely made my year. So and all of those stitching friends that will be joining us at the retreat, you're in for a big treat. There are still places available. Unfortunately, we've had some of our registrations that have had things come up and for certain reasons that's understandable, they have to cancel those. So there are some places available. Head to the website, the Stitches Merchant, if you'd like to register, and I'm happy for that to be in instalments because I understand that you might have missed that original deposit and instalment, so we can chat about that. Just email me. But yeah, would really love to see as many of us there because it's going to be absolutely amazing, once in a lifetime, and yeah, there'll be more, but this one will be an exclusive, of course. Okay, on to stitching and all the things I have to share for you today. Now I'm going to apologise, my dog is here somewhere, and the cat, I actually don't know where she is, but I have a staffy, a grey staffy called Fanny, and she was snoring under my feet just a minute ago, but she has left, so if she comes back in though, there might be some editing required here. There's probably going to be some editing required anyway, because this one could be a long one. Being that it's the start of the year and it seems to be the thing that we're doing WIP parades, I won't do an entire parade because there's quite a lot, but very happy to share some of the samplers when I did a bit of a roundup at the start of the year on the numbers from last year and where I was at. So yeah, I'll be sharing that with you today. So firstly, to start off with, this year I have started using the Book of Days. So absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Vicky and Megan, who actually present this for us every year for stitches to use. So in the tradition of many people, many ladies or stitchers that are using their Book of Days, I have got a little crazy with some stickers. So I'm recording. I like to write in pencil. My writing is atrocious, so you won't be able to read it. But I'm recording generally what I'm stitching on, what floss tubes I might have watched and things that I've liked that probably will end up being in my stash. And on this side bar here, there's a little place, and I've been recording starts that I've made and finishes that I've made. So hopefully at the end of the year, that might make it a little easier to tally them up, because this year I had to go back through. I did previously, I have a diary for the farm that I get every year from Papier in the UK. So they're beautiful and they're printed with the farm name is Linwood. So I get them every year and I use them for obviously tracking stock and that as well. And I've always used that with my stitching. But this year this is exclusively for my stitching. And this is February. Sorry, I'm trying out a new webcam or camera to record with. So this one might be, I'll get better. And obviously February is all about Valentine's Day. Not that I have a lot of Valentine's stitches actually, I will amend that in time. Somebody else, another floss tuber I was watching talked, was it Carol? Stopbox Stitcher, talked about watching yourself back and watching how many times you touch your nose and things. You do. So apologies, I'm trying to stop doing that. So, what did I work on exclusively through January? I am not a monogamous stitcher. Sorry, Dana. I have a friend, a very good stitching friend, and she is amazing. She can work on one thing until it's done. I just can't. I fall down too many rabbit holes and there are far too many squirrels and things to chase that I want to work on. But I did start off with my, where were we? I think the last floss tube was just before Christmas. So there was a Kathy Taz Purdon on Instagram, Australian stitcher in Tassie, started a Blackbird Christmas Day sale, which has been going. There's been Christmas Day sale hashtags for a while, but there were a number of Australian stitchers and probably other stitchers that started that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to start mine on the 25th. We, oopsies, had a little bit of travel to spend Christmas Day with family, so I think it was the 27th, and by then I was testing positive for COVID, so I had a good reason to stitch all the things I wanted to stitch. So I did start Blackbird Designs Christmas Day, which I will show in the roundup here in a minute, but the January for the Needlebook Press Book of Days, I have worked on Winter Rose Manor by With Thy Needle and Thread for quite some time. I did have a finish, which I'll show you in a minute. I then, thank you to Christy from Crosshatch Quilts for the inspiration. I got back into my Blackbird Designs Anniversaries of the Heart, and yeah, there's been some stories with that one, so I'll fill you in on that. Worked on that a little bit, back to Winter Rose Manor, and actually had another finish with Stacey Nash as well, and then back to Winter Rose Manor. So I'll talk about those as we go. The stickers, if anyone wants to know, I have been collecting these books. Sorry for reaching out, also there's piles everywhere. I have 3 sticker books at the moment, which is probably plenty actually. So these 2 are both available on Amazon. I believe Imaginarium may have just come out. I had that ordered. I have an Elastoplast on my finger. Yesterday my sourdough and my bread knife, we had an incident. But anyway, it'll heal, you just didn't need to see that. So sorry about the Elastoplast. So those 2 books, and I also really like this one. I think there are others by this same, it's Castle Point Books, Arcania, but I'm fairly certain there are others available in this, also on Amazon. So that's where the stickers are coming from for those. Okay, quickly, let's talk about actual finishes in January. So I had been working on, I always say the name wrong, it's Merry and Minty. It's a freebie from Brenda Gervais with Needle and Thread, I think maybe a couple of years ago. It's still available, the link on her Facebook page if you're interested. And I had seen a number of cross stitches on Instagram finishing, instead of doing the French knots, they have finished with beads, which I've also done. I had some Mill Hill beads that I finished the little light trail with. So I was very happy with that, super cute. I think it is stitched on 36 count Winter's Brew. Yeah, it's Winter Brew. Oh no, Winter's Brew. So that's, I did bring a board, but I'm not using it. I will try and use it. So that was the first finish in January. The next one, I think I had 3 actual finishes, and then I have a fully finished object to show. So this is lovely. I had this kitted. It's Stacey Nash Old White Farmhouse Sampler. So I had a kit of the threads, and I have stitched it on 37 count Cloudburst by Legacy Linens. It is a very pale grey, so that White House perhaps isn't popping as much as some of the linens that I have seen it stitched on. It was originally on R&R Reproductions Mink, which I'm not sure if it's even still available. So there's the chart, and it was from 2014. So it's an older chart. And my friend Dana, who I have just mentioned as well, funnily enough, we didn't talk about this, but we ended up both working on the same actual chart at the same time and finished within days of each other. Both took us 10 or 12 days to stitch it. Dana has changed the colours on hers. So if you would like to get her conversion, then head over to her Instagram, which is a bit of cross stitch, and I will tag that below. So I'm thinking a really chunky black frame. Black frames are my thing, and the heavier the better if I can get them, but obviously they're quite costly. I probably need to, I do have the equipment to cut down some antique frames and things, but do I want to cut into antique frames? I hang on to them in the hope that I will find cross stitches that will just fit in finishes that they'll be perfect for. But yeah, that's something maybe I will do in the future, is actually think about doing that. I do, as you know, I do love to stalk our well, I guess we call them opportunity shops or secondhand, shops. We've got a couple of that are private, like not-for-profit, small ones here, as well as St Vincent's and the Sallies. But I just haven't seen any frames there that are chunky enough and that I like. I'm happy to repurpose and paint and... Okay, so that was the finish, will be framed. Trying to make piles here neatly. Then I did, because I did think I didn't have, a lot of Valentine stitches, and I'm not sure that they're really my thing, but Hello from Liz Matthews, Liz, she posted a freebie again this year that she had, I think it was a couple of years ago, 2021. And I really like it. So, and Liz's was in blue. I've done mine in old red paint. So it's just the word always with the arrow. Old red paint on R&R French vanilla 36 count linen. I won't show too much of the chart, although it is a freebie. It's called Arrow Celebration Small, and if you head to Liz's website, you should be able to download that from there. I did, and it was only a couple of nights to stitch that, and I will finish it very similarly to what Liz did in a pillow that will go in a bowl or in a cabinet somewhere. So thank you, Liz. I really enjoyed that one. I did have a thought that it would be nice maybe if I wrote some words down. Perhaps At Last or Forever would be another nice script words to do in a similar fashion. I could chart that, but I probably won't. It's a thought at this stage. So that was a third finish for January. And then I'll just show, before we head into the WIP roundup. I've forgotten the name of this. This is what happens. It is a thing. You sit in front of a camera and completely it goes. It's from the Ooh La La booklet by Blackbird Designs. And I did finish this last year, 2022. Oh, clearly, it's on there. I'm not sure when. But yeah, I really, really loved it. And I think in the booklet it's finished this in a similar fashion on a box or something. Anyway, in Australia, if you are lucky enough to be here, but in America you have shaker boxes as well. So this is a beautiful shaker box from Timbo's shop, which are based in Brisbane. And they do a beautiful job. They smell, when I unpacked, like when I got it in the post, it's just divine, but it still smells. So I was in a bit of trauma because I'm a thrifter and a lover of old things, and even though this isn't old, it's beautifully made and the workmanship is gorgeous. And I tried a couple of different ways that I thought I might be able to magnetize it to stay on top of the box so I didn't have to glue on top of the box. It felt a bit naughty, but I did it because in the end the magnets weren't strong enough, they weren't holding it. So it is laced and gently, a couple, like 4 jobs of glue stuck on there, and then I've just put That's Lady Dot Creates mini wick rack in Chianti, maybe. I've popped that on the side with just little jobs of glue on it. I normally stitch trims on my pillows, but obviously it's a bit more difficult to do it on this one. Anyway, it is a beautiful box. I'm super, super happy with how it turned out. We have our local show here next weekend, and I will be up there all weekend because I'm part of the Ladies Auxiliary Showground Trust. And apparently I can make coffee, so I will be on the coffee machine as the barista for a good portion of the weekend and in the kitchen doing our bit. But I do exhibit in our show, and I think I will pop this one in one of the sections for needlework, just so maybe it inspires somebody on a different finish too, rather than framing things. But thank you, Timbo's, Jude. I probably can announce this. They have kindly agreed to attend the retreat on the Saturday, and they'll be bringing the shaker boxes in all their glory and sizes, and they are beautiful, for us to purchase at the retreat. So that's another reason, if you'd like to register, hop in now and register. So this is their thank you card to me. And if you'd like to, I will put their details up here, but it's timboshop.com.au. And big shout out to them, and it's absolutely beautiful. So happy that I have ordered them, and of course I want more. That will come in time. Okay, so that's finishes for January. I guess we'll move on to this epic pile. For people that have asked and just would like to know how people do things. I typically stitch in a Q-snap. I prefer a Q-snap, and I used to hold on to that like you would a hoop. But in recent years, in the desire to be faster and finish things more quickly as well, I have a Lowry stand and I absolutely love it. I take it to retreats. So if anyone's thinking about my retreat and what they should bring or could bring whatever you need to stitch with. I will have some small rechargeable lights available for purchase as well, but a lot of stitches do have their own. You can bring them. The rechargeables are better, obviously, because you don't need to have a heap of cords, but we will have power where we are if you need that as well. I do take my Lowry stand. So my Lowry stand is set up in my living room right beside me. Generally, every couple of weeks, I then go and find what I think I might like to stitch on or plans for the month, and I keep them in a basket beside me. And it's this little, this is a thrifted basket that my friend found at a place being thrown out and had in a car, and I'm like, oh, that's cute, and she gave it to me. So thanks, I love my basket. Her name, yeah, that's a nickname. So I try and keep immediate stuff that I want to be working on in project bags. So, probably should start with, and then the rest of them also sit, oh dear, I've got a pile already out here. Sorry for the crinkling. I have about 3 other boxes, so one of them's an old crate, lots of project bags in there, and then I've got a couple of these water hyacinth baskets. I think in Australia I might have got those at Big W or Kmart. So they're not matching. They just sit in my craft area with the other WIPs. So when the mood strikes me, I'll come up and I might swap that basket out and swap it around. Generally, I have enough project bags, but I probably do need to make more. There's some double ups and things happening in here now. So this is probably my oldest, so we'll start with it because it's in a very large project bag. It's the biggest one. I made this one of my first attempts with the vinyl fronts, and I do really like the vinyl fronts, and I think I was watching somebody else, I'm not sure which floss tuber, and they mentioned that it's worthwhile buying the quality vinyl from Bienni. It definitely is. I did make some out of a poorer quality, and I'm not that happy with them. They're not. They get damaged and poked and that. Anyway, so onwards with the WIPs. So last year, I believe I started the year with 27 WIPs. I won't go through them all. They're large, small, they're seasonals, they're samplers. So this year I just did a tally up and a definite cull, and I'm calling it the box of shame. There were a few that I'm just, for various reasons, I'm not going to finish them in the way that they are. I may still love the chart, but the reality is your stitching changes, your taste change, you learn more, you desire more, your stash becomes bigger as well, and I don't like stitching with 2 strands if I can avoid it. I will avoid it. A small is okay, but a sampler, no. So there are a couple that have now gone into the box of shame. A friend said to me that she just gifts them on, cuts out whatever she started and gets it out of life. That's probably a good way to do it because then it's gone. But there are a few that have ended up in there this year. There are definitely at least 3 of them that I would like to stitch on a higher count with a 1 strand at some stage, but let's not add that to the pile because there's a lot here at the moment. So 27 last year. I did finish 39 finishes in 2023, a lot of smalls. It was the year of smalls, so that's huge. There were not a lot of samplers finished in there, unfortunately. A lot started, but the roundup of this year's WIPs, I believe, is 33. So I finished 39 things and had 27 WIPs and have ended up with another 6 or so. That's not too bad. Although in January I've added to that number, but that's okay. There's not a number. I just feel like stitch what you love. If something takes your fancy and you want to work on it, go for it. And if it ends up in a WIP basket for a couple of years, that's okay too. Mine have been there for more than that. So, okay, shut up, move on. Sorry, people. Let's start with number one. Number one, GGR Polka Dot Cow Sampler, or Anne Harding 1811, sorry. She's a large girl. She's 378 by 434. I adore this. Just look at that. Everyone knows. Look at the cow is the spotted cow. Sorry for the reflection. It was my first very, very large sampler, and it's on 40 count. I'm fairly sure it's like an antique, just their antique white. So I started with, oh goodness, she is large. All the border, which does match, yay. Sorry about the thread hanging there. Obviously, just pull the needle out, start again. But you can see I do typically start in the upper right. I don't typically do borders, but because she was so large and I really wanted, you can see I've used markers, which I can pull out later. It's glorious. I have already made a counting mistake, and I do think that's why she got put away, unfortunately. Probably need to just start at the bottom on the cow and the grass, and that might make me enthused about her more at the moment. Sorry, focus is going in and out, which is not great. But that is one of my oldest WIPs and hasn't had a lot of attention in. They're the beautiful threads, and there are 2 and 3 skeins needed for some of these as well. I'm doing it in the overdyes, which is the recommended Gentle Art sampler threads, and a week Styleworks. Yeah. Anyway, here. So that's GGR Polka Dot Cow Sampler, and I do love her. I really do enjoy stitching on her. It's just not had very much attention last year. I've tried WIP Goes. I was really good at it for a couple of months, and then no. So I now stitch what I love. If she takes my fancy, I'll just get her out. Okay, let's look through some of these. So I don't have the dates, I haven't ironed them. You're just seeing them as they're coming out of project bags. Another vinyl one I've made. This lovely girl, I was inspired by my friend Jane, who started and finished Jane a couple of years ago, I believe. So this is a Hats, Hands Across the Sea, Jane Fiddy's 1835. She's a Scottish sampler, and she's absolutely glorious. The colours are stunning, and I am stitching her on, I'm not sure, yes, it was straw. So it was a 46 count, but I'm stitching her on a 36, I believe, in all DMC. I agree with Carol. What constitutes a WIP and what constitutes a start? I'm not exactly sure, but that's not a very big effort on Jane. And I really did wish to get down to those larger letters in there and the house. And while I've got her squashed colours, there they are. All DMC. I typically bobinate my DMC, but not these. I bought these specifically for Jane and put them on floss drops with the numbers at the top. Jane hasn't had a lot of attention either at the moment. Sorry everybody, I'm going to try and put these back together. A lovely red sampler. I don't have a colour photo. I'll try and insert one actually, because the original is a dark blue, possibly even black. No, it's dark blue. Hard without a colour photo. It's Al Forest Embroidery, and it's the Groningen sampler. Now these are very traditional, I believe, possibly Dutch samplers, but I've chosen to start mine, and let's use the board that we put here for this purpose. Hey. In red, and clearly just stopped. So it's a red silk. Hopefully this is focusing well on these. Linen. It's definitely silk. It's a red silk from Silks For You in Australia that I am using, and I was in a club for some time that was really worthwhile having those silk clubs, because now I've got such a great stash of silks to convert some of the charts to. But have I written down what linen I have used? It would be 36 count, and it does look like it's possibly light khaki or platinum. But yeah, do like a red sampler. Have another one only on my wall at the moment, so it would be lovely if I finished that one. Then I'd have two. And if you'd like to buy those charts, you can do so directly from Our Forest Embroideries website and download them by PDF, which is great for those of us that like to do that. I love having a chart as well, of course, we all do. But I started that in February 2020. Probably need some love. Okay, next. These ones are actually ones that I haven't touched in a while in this box, so that's okay. This one's in a smaller little vinyl project bag. So these were the first project bags that I learnt to make off a tutorial on YouTube. I actually can't remember her name, but I have it written down. If I can find it, I will I will link that here. Scarlet House, Mary Linley, 1829. Sorry for the reflection. It's either reflection or taken out of the plastic, which is all the crinkly. Sorry everybody. It has that lovely bird in there. And I started in the middle, which is actually fairly unusual for me, on a 36 count Picture This Plus Edinburgh linen. And I am stitching in silk on this one, again from the Silks For You club. I have done my own conversion to use on that linen. Beautiful chart, and the saying is, yeah, really nice actually. The verses matter, and I really like that verse. Our home is not this moral clim, our life is not confined to time, and death's but the cloud that lies between our souls and paradise. Mary Linley in the year 1829. So I need to show Mary some love again soon. Okay. This could be a very long one today. How do we get faster at this? 2 parts perhaps, 2 parts. I think this will be another Scarlet House in a cute teepees actually on that one. And again silks. I don't stitch a lot in silk. I'm surprised these are all front though. Harriet Taylor, 1842. And I know exactly when I started this because there's a red and white house. It was the month that we moved into our new house, this farmhouse that we're in, which is a red and white farmhouse. And I am stitching on, this was a seraphim. Again, it's 36 count. I'm certain it's a seraphim fabric and I cannot remember the name. It will be in my diary, but that's where I'm up to. Still learn to hold this straight. Sorry, there we go. And it is the called for NPI silks that I've got there on the floss drops for that one. Oh, they feel so beautiful. They do. They're buttery. They're buttery to work with. But I love DMC and I love over-dyed cotton as well. So it doesn't matter to me. Sometimes I will choose silk, but often I'm happy just to use a DMC conversion if my chart's calling for silks. Either or. Whatever works for you. And I know I need to show this more off. I really would love to see this finished, and on my wall there's the project bag. So the you don't get to see the insides, which that's really sweet. That's the back. I've put on that one a paisley with that lovely little print on the inside. I have a fair quilting stash as well, so I can call on that. Ooh, this is a mess. Sorry. And I put notes on things, what I've stolen to use for something else. However, this is Plum Street's, so Paulette's beautiful salt boxes that she released perhaps 2019, I think. Yeah, 2018, 2019. I've got those two. I've got the others as well, the summer and the spring, and I have chosen to do them all on one piece of linen. Now this was a piece I've dyed myself, and I actually think it's 32 count because I got, yeah, it is. Did a good job. I actually like the dye job. It's nice mottling. That would have been Stitching with the Housewives, was the first tutorial I watched on baking them in the oven to get them mottling, and it really does work. So there's two on every chart, and I'm stitching the two seasons side by side. So we actually have 1, 2, can we see 1, 2 and 3 on there. I love it. Of course I love it. I'm stitching it. We all say that. We love it. And I really need to finish it. Okay, now, next. Oh, this is the blackbird fabric. I do like to make some bags out of blackbird fabric, but then I like to hoard it as well because you're never quite sure. Oh yes, these were project bags I actually have made recently, and I decided to put a little tab of twill tape in the corner so that the thread rings could hang on it. Saves them dropping to the bottom of the bag and hopefully not getting, as they don't get tangled, but I just thought that was a nice touch. Okay, this is a Teresa Kogut, and it's glorious. And there's a massive border on it. Anyone guess? Newcastle bouquet. And this came out at market, I think, 2 years ago now, and I'm stitching it on 36 count Heartland linen by Picture This Plus. I only started last year, and it is it's a start. It is, let's try the board that I've got here. It's glorious. Absolutely beautiful colours. And I really, really enjoyed it. I stitched on it through January, I think, last year. This was part of my challenging myself to try WIP Go, and this was one of the first ones that came up. Here's another note for something I've stolen. But there's the threads for this project. So Newcastle Bouquet by Teresa Kogut, and she also did release the Biscornu that has got this same glorious red flowers in it, which I will do when I finish this. Perhaps we should finish this one first. Hopefully everybody can see that one and it's not too glary. Okay, of course, that's could do with some more attention, as could they all. stop starting new things. Never. Sorry, Jenna. Never. Ah, this is a conundrum. Okay. This, whoops. Is, thank goodness, was one of my unicorn charts. I actually have 2 out of 3 of my unicorn charts this year, because 1884 Stitchery have been able to reproduce these and are now, the plantation sampler for many of us is now available to download. So as soon as it was there, I hot-footed over to grab my copy and made a not too shabby start, but I'm not sure I'm loving the linen. This is the conundrum. So there's the, actually, which way are we? Yeah, I think that's correct. Yep. Bottom border. Not showing that linen up. It's a little, I felt that the sampler itself had quite a green, and I've stalked all the Instagram, all the lovely stitches that have finished it and various linens. This is Lakeside Linens Buttercream, and it has, I'm just not sure, I'm thinking to swap it onto, I have here Ligonier Latte as well, which is a little darker. Not sure we're getting those colours correctly. Anyway, a little start. Maybe I'll change it, maybe I won't. Let me know in your comments if you think I should just continue on. I probably should just continue on. And I was stitching now. I'm a tin collector, and I'm not sure, it's the DMCs are in one of the tins. Bobbinated, not that one. This was a gift from my friend. So I keep, that looks disgraceful. Oh dear. So many years of collecting. My DMCs are bobbinated. So I have the plastic boxes with the bobbinated DMC in them. And then if they're in use, they're probably in a tin somewhere. There's a couple of tins sitting around here. So started the plantation sampler in, I believe, the called for DMC. Yes, it was called for. That's the lovely plantation sampler, and so happy that 1884 Stitchery has been able to re-release some of those charts for us. And of course, I believe she's just has the Birds of a Feather, which had one of my other unicorn charts, Sally Spencer. However, I was lucky enough to get an original chart of Sally Spencer not too long ago. It came up on eBay, and I was happy to pay the price and start her. So she's in here. There's the plantation sampler. Okay, one box down. Okay, moving on. I think this is a Blackbird fabric as well. I can't recollect which one. Nell's Flower Shop rings bells. If I'm incorrect, let me know. Okay, I'm not sure I've got charts and threads. Where are they? Threads are here. This is With Thy Needle and Thread Brick House sampler on with the needle minder and the needles, and just stop where you move on to something else. 1/1 on a 25 count, I believe. Yes, 25 count Lugana. I don't think I've dyed. I have sometimes, I've stitched a few things on a Lugana, and I have, oh, there's a finish I haven't shown as well. Next time. Yeah, I have done that. Brenda's recommended overdyeing with coffee or tea, but this one's not. I love 1/1. I can't say I love working on it all the time. I do work under a magnifier, a daylight light magnifier, and I definitely work under a magnifier, stitching 1/1. But I love the challenge. I love having finished it, and it's a great sense of satisfaction in those. So I have worked on that one a little bit through this year. You can hear the Q snaps in there. Another recent project bag. Love this fabric. So it's J. Wecker Fresh, of which I have her calendar for this year. I know it's February, but it's a great calendar. If you want to get a copy, get a copy. It's a fabulous calendar for anyone who's a stitchy soul. In here, I think Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, her frost tube I just watched yesterday, she had just framed this, finished and framed it. Anyone guess what I'm talking about? Another one, thank you to 1884 Stitchery that we have, and I'm not sure I have a colour photo. No, I don't. If I can insert it, I will. So it's the ES Spot Motif Sampler. And I am stitching it on. I started in February 2022. Sometimes I write them just on a little tag, whoops, as well as in diary or the book of days now, which is handy because when you're doing floss tube, I can tell you. And it's on 36 count toasted marshmallow, which is by Number 12 Stitch Co. And Nicola's beautiful fabrics are available on Etsy. She's an Australian linen dye, has her store on Etsy, and they're just beautiful linens to work on. I do have a number of started, and that is current progress. Let's grab the board on the ES Spot Motif Sampler. All the called for overdyed threads is what I'm using, and that's them there. That's my effort of not sure I'm loving this focus on this camera. I might need to work on that. Really enjoyable, colourful stitch. Should be probably stitching on it now instead of thinking that my winter rose manner was too wintry for summer and started something summery. Should have perhaps got out of here Spot Motif Sampler. There would have been a good idea. And in more Blackbird fabric with rickrack trim. This is an older sampler fabric, I think, that they, maybe some years ago now. And in this one, another one that needs some love. Oops. Okay. Leela's Studio. I love this. Had to have it. Rushed to get it when it was released at market that year. It's a Quaker welcome. Leela's Studio. And the threads are, when did I start it? 2020. So there's some DMC and some overdyeds used in this. That's brilliant. It looks gorgeous on the linen. I am using or working on the called for, I believe. No. The model fabric was a 40 count old Massachusetts by the Primitive Hair, and I'm fairly certain mine is on Vintage Country Mocha. And there's the needle minder on there. There we go. No, it might not be a Vintage Country Mocha. Looks a little mottled for that. It may be a Picture This Plus. No, it's Country Mocha. I have written it. I've written it on the tag. That was organised. do like a Quaker sample. There are so many beautiful Quakers out there. It'd be lovely to have a Quaker wall. This one was also started around the time that we moved into this house, because I have a spot as you walk in the door that I'd like it to be hanging in, but it's not. Will be, one day. Ah, speak of unicorns, here she is. There's the, I've got the chart double bagged. So, Sally Spencer, Birds of a Feather. Back to my unwillingness to now stitch. This is also in a some Blackbird fabric project bag, and that's the inside. Not Blackbird fabric inside, but that I've stitched. So using the called for over dyed threads for Sally on a Weeks Dye Works Coca, but it is a 32 count, but I am doing it just in one strand. And I'm okay with that. I actually don't mind the look. Particularly this particular sampler is quite a prim, and I think I'm actually quite tight on, you can see by how much borders I don't have, I'm quite tight on how much border we have here, so it will be an interesting framing job, but I frame a lot of my own, so that's okay. So that's my progress on Sally. As soon as I got the chart, threads out, and started working on her. She'll be absolutely gorgeous when she's finished and on my wall, probably with some other red samplers, because there's quite a lot of red in her as well. We're whittling them down. That's another basket done. Oh, this one feels a little heavier. Okay, I think I have shown this one before. So quickly, Manor at Quaker Hill by Brenda Gervais. And I did do a little bit of work on this one last year. It's on a Picture This Plus Legacy 36 count. Lovely piece of linen. I do really like a mottled fabric. And speaking of that, there's some new ones in store, in my store, from Tabby Cat. Oh, okay, got to get better at this. Ah, lucky I can laugh at myself. I did a fair bit of work on the lake and the swans this year, but we'll definitely be working on it at some point soon. I really love working on it and the colours in there. This, I don't believe I have a colour photo of it. I might insert a colour photo of it because the black and whites just aren't that. The Berry Bowl sampler, which was a celebration of friendship between Tanya and Beth, so the Scarlet House and Heartstring Samplery, and that was a combined effort. They joined their linens down the middle, and I'm doing it with my friend, and she's going to ask me what she's going to see the progress. Sorry. Here we go. So I have joined my two pieces of linen. I hope that's not too... There we go. And there is some 1/1, that cartouche, the black cartouche in the middle is 1/1. And the rest of it is just berry bowls, which I love. I know some people don't love them. I do love them. Clearly not seeing enough love on that particular style at the moment though. And I have to stitch the other half for my friend, so that's something I need to get onto at some stage. Okay. And this is a Christmas, oh yeah, I perhaps have shown this fairly recently too. This is a Prairie Schooler Christmas tree farm in my Christmas May Gibbs project bag. Okay, the scratching the nose thing is annoying. I don't know if it's like washing up when you invariably have your hands in suds and wet. There we go. And I was stitching on, I think it's Fox and Rabbit's Mayflower. I do like to stitch in the seasons as well. I agree with quite a lot of floss tubers that I watch, and I thought I would be able to continue working on that after Christmas, and no. Here's another Christmas one, and it's a Stacey Nash first. Well, it's not specific. I wouldn't say that's specifically Christmas, but it's first Snowfall pin keep. And I am stitching on 46 count Confederate grey. That's the little bit of, let's call that one a start. This is a little bit of a start in the top corner there, with the called for colours, which are all weeks. They are beautiful. As it gets to winter, that may actually see some stitches in it. Must remember that. This cute little bag. Could be an American Jane, maybe not, not sure. But we have, this is a retreat piece in Australia from Plum Street Samplers. Yeah, definitely could have done with an iron. Yeah. I think it was last year's spring. So Spring Moon by Plum Street. And here is some progress, and perhaps given that Easter is not too well, I perhaps could work on that one a little bit. And that's all on the called for. It was a kit, so that's 36 count baked clay from Fox and Rabbit. This was a Fox and Rabbit Linens and Threads retreat. Throughout the COVID years, so we didn't get to join in person, but we still have a beautiful kit that was really popular, and Paulette's gone on to release the moons in a bit of a series. So there's Christmas Mini Moon, came out this year, which I do have copies in store if anyone is chasing that one. Another beautiful sampler. Now this is a this is out of if anyone would like to, you can still obtain a copy of this. It's the Sampler and Antique Needlework collection of, it's a DVD, CD, DVD, I don't know, DVD-ROM. So storage on there for all 80 issues of that quarterly magazine. And I think someone recently was talking as a Susanna Rambo sampler. I printed a lot out that are on me one day, but Anna Fitz was a must do. Love that cat. I love all animals, but I've always had a cat. So Anna has been started in the DMCs, which is in a tin as well. Lakeside Lentil, 36 count Lakeside Lentil. Current progress. Not sure if it's better back here or it's trying to focus. Not loving this camera option. Anyone have any experience with that, with better technology than me? I'd appreciate your comments. Anna's not a particularly big sampler, so if I really got the stitchy bug on her, I could get through that one quite quickly. Considering I think I counted the old White Farmhouse sampler, I think I stitched in about 10 days When it just grabs you, it grabs you. That's it. Harriet Elizabeth Code. It's a reproduction from With My Needle and Thread. I've had this chart for some time. And Harriet, for me, has a little bit of a story because, again, there's my original start. And I think it was on the called for weeks straw and possibly 30 count, two strands. I do remember having trouble with the colour, the red. It wasn't as red, and I tried to replicate the pomegranate. It was pomegranate, and mine was quite pink, but I since have more skeins of that where it is red, so I will be able to change it out. But I've restarted on a 36 count sheep straw, Weeks Dye Works sheep straw, which they're similar in tone. It's not a very big start though. Oh, actually that might not even be the right way. That might be the right way. Similar colourway. Harriet's beautiful. Harriet needs definitely some more stitches and love. Again, I just love those colours. There's something about Brenda Gervais and the colours that so many of her charts are in. I'm attracted to all of them. Oh, the boxes are getting shorter. Here's another restart. Sounds like there's a theme here. Halloween at Hollyberry Farm. That glorious border, which is on so many of the Hollyberry, I guess, series that Stacey has done. There's been Christmas and summer, and there's been quite a few of them. I made my first start on the called for 18th century rook. Now the parchment there is quite grey, so I did feel that it wasn't. I think that's another option of parchment, so you can see there's quite a difference. And I had started in the greyish one, it just wasn't showing up as well as I would have liked, and I was struggling to see this linen. Sometimes it just, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I have reordered but not started, so this linen is sitting in there as well. So this is from number 12 Stitch Co, Decrepit in 36 count, and I'm probably up for a restart on Decrepit for Halloween at Hollyberry before Halloween this year. I don't think I'll get it finished this year unless I really love stitching on that linen. So the 18th century rook, and it can be all about, I believe Brenda and the serial starter that Brenda has mentioned before, starting a certain way. Michelle from Farm Girl Dry Goods, I think she even posted on Instagram about starting where your thread, you can see the leg of the thread. That all works, and perhaps I just didn't start in the right spot. Maybe I should try it in another spot. And I might really love the linen, but that was the story with Halloween at Hollyberry. So hence it's sitting, it's a cute little project bag though. And spider's webs. And spider webs. And here's another very Halloween looking bag. What's that? Fabric. What is in here? Oh, this is a start. Not this is barely a start actually. Okay, that's mildly embarrassing. This is a start I was making in honour of my grandfather. I just thought, so this was a Maggie Bonomi, but 2005. So it looks like Blackbird Designs, because I think that they did a lot of co-work together in the early days. So that's Maggie's, and I was going to obviously adapt, given that I'm in Australia, the flag there to an Australian flag on a piece of, I've got grey linen here from Fox and Rabbit. It's Fox and Rabbit's Prehistoric. But that is not a very good start. Anyway, that's plans. We'll just say that's plans for something in memory of my grandfather, because I finished one last year of Blackbird Designs, and I actually have an antique frame that I think that will fit perfectly in. So that's the plan. Right, last basket. And current, this is current working on. This is what I have been working on. Let's talk about another restart. So some years ago, I fell in love with, as many of us did, the Blackbird Designs Anniversaries of the Heart booklets, which I have all of them here in their plastic bags. And I did start many years ago, and it is going to be a family sampler. I started on 28 count country French. Here's my cat. Hello, beautiful. Hello. Do you want to say hi? You're probably sleepy. Everybody, this is Kitten. She's a chocolate British short hair called Kitten. She's not a kitten. She's about possibly heading to 6 or 7. Yeah. But she's my baby. She's completely indoors. She's had to learn to live with a Staffy pup. So that was lots of fun. They get along beautifully now, but not so much fun for the first few months. Sorry, Kitten. Anyway, back to Blackbird Design Anniversaries of the Heart and the original start. Oh goodness, I think I'll stand up. There we go. So 2015, that middle one, which again I will do for my niece, was her birth date. So I had started it before her birth and around the time I'd added that in. However, 2 strand, 28 count, put it away, not loving it, had consults with friends who very wisely said, you're never going to finish it. I'm not. Sadly, it's in the middle of that linen, so that's, I don't know what to do with it. Any ideas? Yeah. So I have restarted Anniversaries of the Heart. Not this year, but I did finish the first. So this time, instead of starting in the middle, with my wisdom from last time, I've started, and I actually ironed this for you because I stitched in a Q-snap and it was all scrunched up. So this is the first chart, which now, of course, I've jumbled them up and I don't have on top. Snow. It's here somewhere. Anyway, I have changed the colours to suit what I thought looked more like the cover chart. And the first one, because I love winter, it's my favourite season, I love those colours. The first one is my initials on there. And then I'm working down, so the next one down is this chart number 5, which is Farmhouse, again with the called for colours. And I'm stitching, this new linen choice is a Lakeside linen vintage navy bin. I'm pretty certain it's called vintage navy bin. It's lovely. It's soft. That first, I think most, fairly sure Christy said get through the first one, and she was right, because I finished that in January and I started that for a couple of nights, and honestly, if I just get in and stitch one a month, I can get this done and on my wall, and I really would love it on my wall, because it's a fabulous, and I can't justify starting the other Blackbird for the Birds series, which I have waiting. I can't justify starting that until I have actually finished this one, because that's 2 very large projects. So, some restraint. And this is in a very patriotic bag, actually, which, given that it's Blackbird, I think that's called Old Old Glory. It's an old keepsake quilting. I've had it for a long time, and there is a quilt that I've done, and this was some leftovers. Because I do feel I'm Australian, but I have a connection. I have family in America that live there now, and family that have been there for some time. So, and I do patriotic stitching in Australia, and we just adapt the flag. That's easy enough to do. Okay, not too many left. Oh, this is Christmas garden. So, Christmas garden. These are not very many. I think it's four threads required for Christmas garden. And I do have the book here, so if anyone would like to, the book is available. It's Home for the Holidays by Blackbird Designs. There is a number of people have changed this. I think Hollis Hands Creates, she's recently picked it back up again, has changed the colours. They're beautiful. I haven't changed the colours, although I did. I believe one of them wasn't looking, I think my heirloom gold was a little greenish, so I have changed it to Weeks Palomino. But it's 4 colours, and that was Progress, and it is on 36 count R&R Barb's blend. So we've got some border work. Oh goodness, which way are we? Right way up, please. There we go. Calico Kitty on here looks fabulous. Yellow fluff. Froggy. It was me last night. We're about to get to the one that caused me to stay up far too late last night because I was not fixing it for the 3rd time. Sometimes you just have those days or nights. Christmas garden, and in here, these have all been worked on very recently through January. Yes, here's my January 1st start. I love this chart. I love all these charts. A little more than 4 threads though. So this is Winter Rose Manor by WIP by Needle and Thread, and I have left the, where have I left the booklet? And we're back with the chart. So here we go. It's a booklet format, all in colour, and I have not changed the threads for Winter Rose Manor, even the roasted marshmallow, which some people find is a little yellowish. I've started it on 40 count antique lace by number 12 Stitch Co. So another one of Nicola's, I've lost my board. Another one of Nicola's beautiful fabrics, and I think it's showing up the roasted mallow quite well. It doesn't look too yellow. But that is my start, and heading over to start the pink house. And yes, I am going to use the pink, the called for pink, which was clunk. Uh-oh, that's the cat getting stuck to the carpet. She clearly needs her feet. Her nails trimmed, not a feet cut. Don't do that to my cat. Her nails trimmed. So I think the pink will be absolutely fine. It's pretty, it's soft, it's shell, as it should be. So Winter Rose Manor been a bit of a favourite through January, and I just was stitching the other day and I was like, why am I stitching snow in like 32 degree heat? So that's just easy justification for a new start, which I did do. And we're nearly to the current pile and the current project bag. So before I pull out the treasures in here, I need to give a shout out to Andrea. Andrea is Phil and 69 on Instagram, and I will tag her. She does this beautiful, this is a Blackbird fabric of course, so I couldn't say no. Beautiful, beautiful project bag. And a little one, a matching one, gusseted, like it's a little, and her zipper pulls. I make my project bags and I can do some of this stuff, but they're beautiful. So professionally finished. Thank you, Andrea. I love it. And you can, Andrea lists and stick, like she'll make what she likes to do and just post it on Instagram. So set your notifications if you're interested in purchasing one of her. She does do some kit, can't think what she calls them. Floss tube, forgetful brain again. Anyway, I will put her Instagram handle and you'll be able to find hers, and that's the fabric on the inside. Thank you. They're just beautiful bags. And because it's one of those things, out of necessity you make your own, but I really treasure having someone else make them. And she includes, I didn't use these yet because I wanted to give her a shout out. So she's Fill N69. It is on her, these beautiful little thread drops that she's put in. And she was at the retreat I went to last year, and I have more of these, so now I've really could do. So that's her details and a thread keep for my floss ring. Beautiful. So thank you so much. Okay, what's in here though? Two very current projects. This was the I don't want to stitch snow, so let's stitch something super summery. The colours in this are beautiful, and this is my progress in about maybe 4 or 5 days. Pink Sparrow sampler. Again, with my needle and thread, there's a bit of a theme going on here. I do have a lot of Brenda G's started. Probably need to finish some. This, you can barely see it. It's on the linen I've chosen is 36 count French, R&R French vanilla. There you go. That corn husk, which is quite a chartreusey green. There's the threads for Pink Sparrow sampler. I had frogged that 3 times last night. I don't know what was wrong with me. I ended up having to pin the chart in front of my nose under the magnifier to get it right. Yeah, anyway, I got it right and it matched its meaning. That's where it should be. So pleased about that. There's the actual chart, Pink Sparrow sampler. And the colours are gloriously summertime. So, and that's not a very big sampler. Although a lot more colour changes in that than my old white farmhouse, which I'll whiz through. So I don't think I'll be doing that one as quickly, but no reason, unless a squirrel comes along, that I shouldn't be able to get that one finished fairly quickly. And in amongst stitching that Arrow Celebration Small from Hello from Liz Matthews, this is caught my attention as well, and I have started it. I haven't removed it from the Q-snap. It's not very big. It's on 40 count Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit. And if anyone would like needle minders, I have those in store. Yeah, I just really like this. I liked it when it came out from market. I bought the chart, and I've started it on the Fox and Rabbit. Now, again, not a very big stitch, but was it a necessary start? Probably not. Yeah. And I've got the threads for it in, actually I think it called for NPI with a DMC conversion, and I've actually done an overdyed conversion. So if anybody would like that overdyed conversion, I'm more than happy to provide conversions. I've done the same for Brenda's big birthday sale, Martha Evans from the Scarlet House, which I do plan to start before, I think it was the 16th of Jan to the 16th of Feb. I was waiting on linen. That's now come from Nicola at Number 12 Stitch Co. Again, I'll be starting it. They're both beautiful. I thought I'd started on the weathered, but I think the silica or the weathered would look beautiful with Martha. Sorry, it's sitting on the chair over there. So I've done an overdyed conversion for that because that was released in Silks and DMC. And Martha Evans, the chart, is available in store in my shop as well. The Stitches Merchant, if anyone would like to start that sale or start her at any time. It's a beautiful sampler. The baskets are empty. So we've pretty much come to the end, except I do have a little bit of haul. I will be gathering those supplies. Okay, supplies are gathered and I do have some haul here. So first up, lots of enabling over Christmas because I had time off. I had time to watch a lot of floss tubes, and I actually have done a bit of a list, not a comprehensive list at all, of I keep notes on things I would like to stitch, but floss tubes that I watch religiously and I am subscribed to. So we've got Carol, the Saltbox Stitcher, Brenda and Laura, which is Brenda and the Serial Starter, Christy at Crosshatch Quilts, Olivia at Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, Emily C, Eclectic Possessions, Stacey, the 911 Stitcher, Karen and Bren from Fox and Rabbit Designs, Nicole from Nicole's Needlework, Teresa, Kitten Stitcher, Annie, the Proper Stitcher, Olivia B at Hillside Rookery. Not sure that's her channel though now. There's so many. Sweetwater Stitcher. Shout outs to all of you. Now that I'm doing floss tube, I can really appreciate the effort that goes into bringing all of these to us, and that we love watching them all. So thank you. And they have enabled far too much of this haul that I have acquired. So without further ado, a older Brenda Gervais chart. These two charts came from the Fat Quarter Shop. So I've got the Tree of Life sampler. Now that one's not, that's a 2022. And this one as well, Paper Snowflakes. So they're on the to-do list. I also, now I just don't want to say this incorrectly. This was a Janet Douglas release that was an exclusive for De Handiwork Boutique, I think is the Handiwork Boutique, is a Dutch needlework store. It comes in this lovely pocket and fully kitted. So we have all the colours, and I believe they are silks. Yep, Soie d'Alger and 35 count vintage, 36 count vintage country mocha. And this was a Christmas release, which I just think is gorgeous. Look at that border. And I will be stitching that hopefully before Christmas next year. Then we have this beauty, which was available only through a country sampler. So Peace on Earth kit. I did purchase the kit from Country Sampler, and it comes, it's going to be difficult to hold that up, but there we are, wrapped around the linen, which is a 36 count winter woolens by Seraphim Fabrics. Oh, I come from Seraphim, with Weeks Dye Works on there as well. Kat, can you get away from the tripod? That's not very helpful. Move. But yeah, I just adored, I love those trees. I always love those trees in a sampler. But I think this, the verse in the sampler is just beautiful. Peace on Earth will come to stay when we live Christmas every day. I have a couple of other charts with a very similar sentiment on it. And I do love Country Samplers wrapping. Anyone who's ordered from me knows I like to wrap everything beautifully as well. And well, I obviously ripped it all off, but it came beautifully packaged. So that was that haul. And then most recently haul, which I was just talking about before, was the linens I got from Nicola at number 12 Stitch Co. So that's Nicola's Etsy store, number 12 Stitch Co. And I have 3 beautiful pieces of linen from Nicola, and I'm deciding, so there's Gay Time, Weathered, and Silica. I actually thought I'd use Weathered for Martha. So this is Martha Evans. This was the Scarlet House release for Brenda, of Brenda and the Serial Starter fame, for her big birthday sale, which I think Penelope Tucker and Christy from Crosshatch Quilts have posted about on Instagram if you're interested in following along there. I have chart copies available, and as I said before, I didn't pull the threads, but I've converted there's Avera Soie DMC or NPI silks, and Soie de Jet actually, and I converted it to an overdyed. But deciding whether to do Martha on weathered or silica. This is the question. I think silica's winning at the moment. Anyway, another start and another project bang required. So that's about it for me. Shop updates if you want to stick around for a minute. I will. Okay, what's going on in the Stitches Merchant is obviously Nashville Needlework Market is around the corner, and I had planned to physically go, but due to a job change this year it's a little bit difficult to do that because I've got some requirements to be there for a period of time, so that's okay. Next year, there's always next year. That doesn't mean that I'm not a registered shop for the Needlework Market, and that I am getting all the pre-release information coming through now. So on the website there will be a Nashville Needlework Market tab for 2023. You can pre-order any of the charts there. I think I will set it up with no shipping at this stage attached to it, so when all of it's come in I can ship them together at a better cost for my customers, not to pay additional shipping. So I can send that via an invoice at the end when they will come in. And I've been working with Michelle from Tabby Cat Linens or Mill on the Floss, and have a number of her linens now available in store, and we'll be getting more shortly. They're absolutely beautiful, and if you've been looking or desired to stitch on Tabby Cat linens, they're now available in Australia in store. That's probably about the main updates. Obviously we're all waiting with bated breath for the Nashville Needlework Market and the releases coming through there, which I'm sure will all be gorgeous, and we will want to stitch all of the things. But if you want to keep up to date, follow along on my Instagram page, The Stitches Merchant, and as I said, the tab will be set up shortly for those pre-orders to be up there. And of course, if you'd like to come along to the retreat, Fox and Rabbit Designs exclusive in May, that registration link is available on the website as well. So thank you again for tuning in, and if you'd like to come back and watch me, please subscribe. I'd love to catch up with you again shortly. Hopefully, it's that whole thing about making promises, but at least every month to keep you updated on where I'm at. And obviously, clearly now you've seen the epic amount of WIPs I have. Well, mediocre, I don't know. Anyway, they are what they are, and I'm sure I'm going to add to them very soon as well. Okay, bye everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.